Hey, I'm John Greaves III. I'm the founder of Garage Gym Life, and I love talking to other content creators in the home gym space. Got my man Tim Stewart from Gym Crafter. That's a YouTube channel and a website, and I'm excited for you guys to see more about him, learn more about him. I've been sharing some of his stuff here in my community posts, so I think you guys are really going to enjoy Tim's unique perspective on what he does. Tim, thanks for joining me here today.
You bet, man. Hope I can live up to that.
Oh yeah, no pressure at all, Yeah, so listen, I want to dive all into you and your journey and what it is you do. But first, let's check out the shirt of the day. Hey, the shirt of the day is the hashtag Garage Gym Life Tee. Hashtags are a great way if you're searching on social media to find the content that you're looking for quickly and efficiently. So if you put hashtag Garage Gym Life in on Twitter, here on YouTube, or on Instagram, it's going to take you to content that's been uploaded by home gym owners from around the world who embrace the at-home workout lifestyle. And so we've got the hashtag Garage Gym Life Tee to represent everyone who has chosen the fitness lifestyle, but who's chosen to do that at home. The hashtag Garage Gym Life Tee comes in multiple colors, and it is also comfortable enough to wear during a workout, or you can throw it on with a pair of jeans if you're just gonna go out on the town. You can check it out by visiting the link that's below this video, as well as all of our other home gym merch. And as always, thank you for your support. Okay, so that was the shirt of the day. And as I said in the commercial, you guys can check out the shirt of the day as well as all of our other merch products by simply going to the link that's below this video. And once again, that money goes directly back into the channel to help me do more of what I do. All right, so Tim, you've been training for, I believe, over 25 years. That's about the same amount of time I've been training. How have your goals changed since you first started training 25 years ago? I believe in your 20s, and what are your personal fitness goals for the next year?
When I started training, like any young guy in his 20s, I just wanted to get big and look good and attract women.
There you go.
That's why I did it. I started off with, if you've heard of Vincent Del Monte.
Okay. Okay.
Old school fitness guy. Not hindsight being 2020, I probably shouldn't have done much with him, but he was big in internet marketing at the time. So he's who landed on my, on my radar. So I did a bunch of his programs, and I think I've owned 2 Bowflexes in that time, trying to do that. And then really that never stuck for me. What I would always do, I was always train, I'd get results, and then I'd go, oh, well, I'm there. And I would stop. I didn't get the concept of that fitness is a journey, not a destination. And I think that's one of the big problems in our industry is everybody's like, well, 12 weeks to shredded and 12 weeks to this and 16 weeks. It's like, dude, you can't stop after 16 weeks. That's not the end. Right. And I think when I was younger, I always thought there was an end. Like, okay, I'm going to put in 16 weeks in the gym. I'm going to get jacked, and then I don't have to worry about it again. And then, as you know, the muscle falls off faster than it comes on. So I did that whole cycle, which a lot of guys have done. You go into the gym for a little while, you get in shape, you leave the gym, and because there really wasn't a good why there. And I really didn't become dedicated until I had a really strong why, which was being able to walk. So I've had significant back issues. If you read my site at all, I talk a lot about injuries because I make Derrick Rose look bulletproof. I mean, it's just every time if I look at something the wrong way, I pull a muscle. So it's in fact, I got my DNA results back from 23andMe, and I didn't even know you could do this. I am genetically predisposed to soft tissue injury.
That's like the most depressing result I can imagine getting. How did that not just tell you? Okay, so actually, did it make you discouraged, or did it make you say, oh, that makes sense now? It's not that I've been doing things wrong this whole time.
Well, so I was doing things wrong. And that was part of the problem, is that what it did was it made me really dig into, okay, there's clearly a bunch of people out there who think that more is better. And let me just like the Vincent Del Monte thing. He used to do these things called mechanical drop sets. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, incline bench to failure, then go to flat bench to failure, then go to decline. And I'm just killing myself. It's no wonder I got hurt all the time.
Right.
So what I did was I went on a search for people who understood training and understood the minimum effective dose. And I found Jason Ferrugia through that.
Okay.
Read a lot of his stuff, started listening. He had just started a podcast at the time. Joined his Renegade Strength Club. It wasn't right for me, but I did learn a ton about training safely, about proper form, about, you know, he was big. That Renegade Strength Club was really cool. I remember you got monthly programs with that. And I remember the first time I got one, I looked at it and I went, that's it.
The action you just mentioned having is what I thought when I first read Stuart McRoberts' Brawn, because so I didn't have the research part of it. I started in 1993 when my girlfriend at the time out bench pressed me. And I tell people I started because my girlfriend was stronger than me. And that's true, but that was a catalyst. What actually happened is I was always smaller than everybody else. And I got tired of getting picked on. And I was like, you know, the fact of the matter is that when I would start training, when I was 14, 15, 16, I didn't see results. So I just said, well, this obviously doesn't work, this whatever. And I just stopped. But the fact that she was stronger than me was enough motivation to say, okay, well, keep on training, because I mean, hey, it's Monday, she's still stronger than you. Tuesday, she's still stronger than you. Wednesday, you know what I mean? Now, this was absolutely not the best design program. In fact, there wasn't any such thing as program design. I mean, really all I had was basically my version of periodization was I walk in and whatever somebody bigger than me was doing, that's the workout of the day, right? It was my own personal brand of CrossFit, Meathead CrossFit. Hey, what's the biggest dude doing? That's what we're doing today. Wait, that's what we did yesterday. Yes, but he's bigger than the guy from yesterday. So we're going to go with what he did. You know what I mean? And it was ludicrous. The only reason I even survived was because I was 19 and I was motivated to see results. So I stuck with it. And then people started seeing results actually even before I did. But eventually I would have gotten injured or would have hit a plateau and probably quit. But thank God I started learning about smart training from various places. But in the very beginning, it worked because everything works in the beginning. You said you trained with Jason Ferrugia, you trained with John Rustin, yet you said that you still struggled to stick to programs, even if they were working, until you started training at home. Why do you think training at home was like the secret sauce, the thing that kept you from falling off the wagon finally?
So there's a couple of reasons. Number one, I had a great gym where I worked, and the full weight room. One of the owners was big. I mean, steam shower, racquetball court, basketball. It was fantastic. So, but to get up and go to work early to train and then shower at work, or to stay after a long day, just wasn't sustainable. So I don't know if you're familiar with the adage of eat your frogs first thing in the morning.
No, but okay. So like, do the unpleasant tasks first, I guess.
Yes,
is that
exactly.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of do the things that suck first thing in the morning, right? Like do the things that are hard right away so you get them off your plate. So having a gym at home meant that I could literally get out of bed, come downstairs, drink my pre-workout, which I don't use anymore, but do that, hit the gym for an hour, and then start my day. And by doing that, by making it the first thing I did every day, that built the habit of consistency. And at some point, that changed from an effort to I would no more skip working out in the morning than I would skipping brushing my teeth in the morning, right? It just became part of my life.
It's just who you are.
And, right. You know, I'm a big proponent. I can't tell you how many people I've said, buy one kettlebell, clear a spot on your living room floor, do this program of 2 moves for the next 90 days. And if you can stick with that, you reach back out and I'll help you get to the next step, right?
Right.
Like, and a lot of people, that's where they stay. They're like, man, I do Turkish get-ups and swings every day. Start my day, takes me 10 minutes. I do 5 get-ups on each side. I do, 100 swings. Maybe I do some one-arm swings or something. And those people in their 40s who have gone from sitting on the couch to just doing that, even 3 to 5 days a week, the change in their life is drastic. I don't share this story very often because it's slightly embarrassing, but one of the big reasons I started a home gym was I had hurt my back and I was off I hadn't trained, or I basically sat on the couch or laid on my floor for 2 straight years. So you can imagine the shape that I was in.
Yeah.
And I got real upset one day and I said, well, you need to fix this, right? So I went into the gym after work, and I laid down on the bench to do a bench press. And I'm like, I'll just start with 135 and, just kind of, and I put 135 on the bar and I couldn't get it off the hooks.
Yeah.
Like I literally couldn't get it off. I couldn't even, I'm like, oh, whoa. Like that used to, hold on. So I'm like, well, let me put 35s on there. So I went down to 115. I could get it off the hooks, but I knew that if I went down, I was not getting back up.
Yeah.
I had to go down to 95 pounds and I did 2.5 reps. And that was the moment where even me, I'm 6'6", I'm not a small guy.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed. And I'd spent so many years in the gym that I'm like, I can't do this here. Everybody's going to make fun of me.
Yeah.
And you know what self-respecting dude goes over and puts 20, puts quarters on the bar and does like nobody, right? Nobody in a commercial gym.
Yeah.
So at least that was my impression.
Yeah.
And I know from feeling that way, how many people are staying out of the gym for that exact same reason?
Right.
It's so important. Honestly, man, I think that home gyms should be as ubiquitous as a second bathroom in your house. It should just be in a house. It should be part of a
Yeah.
house.
Do you think there's pressure to be in shape because you are a content creator?
No. Do I feel the need to look buff? I'm not training for that. And like I'm a photographer, I do a lot of photography. But one of the things you have to be able to do is I have to be able to drop down in an ass-to-grass squat with my feet flat on the ground and stay there. Because that's the level that the pictures look best at.
Right.
One of my dogs recently hurt her shoulder. She's 50 pounds. I have to bend down, pick her up with one arm, and carry her up and down the stairs every day that she wants to go up and down the stairs. So for me, I've started looking at, okay, do I need to get great at squats? No. But I need to be able to go out to the dog park and squat down for 15, 20 minutes at a time, get myself back up. So there's a mobility component to that. There's a strength component to that. One of the biggest disservices that we give people in this industry is that you're training for how you look.
Okay.
That is a result. That is not an input. You cannot manage the output. So people go to the gym and what do you see? You see people do chest day every day. And then they walk around with forward shoulder. And it's like, well, now you got a big chest, but you can't function.
Right.
So I think when you train for life and you train for being able to, like, let's say I don't have kids, but like, let's say my parents who are in their mid 70s have 3 grandchildren. Well, when the 3-year-old little boy comes running up and wants grandpa to bend down, grab him, pick him up and do this, my dad can't do that. Right.
Right.
So does it matter that he's jacked? No, it matters that he can't pick up his grandkid.
Right,
and I think
right.
people speaking to that. And I think there's a lot of folks who their lives would be infinitely better if they started lifting weights at home. And the only roadblock is all the idiots on social media with their shirts off showing how jacked they are. So to answer the question, not only do I not care that I'm not jacked and ripped, I don't want to be, because that's not real life. That's not real, man. I mean, yeah, there's a few blessed people who can walk around like that all the time. The rest of them are on gear and they're taking all of their pictures in one photo shoot and then spreading them out over the years so that you think they're jacked all year long. That is such a disservice to the people out there who really need strength training in their life. It makes me really upset. I get a little worked up about it, but that's why I started Gymcrafter, man. And that's why I don't care. You want to comment on my arms not being big on a YouTube video, okay.
Yeah.
I guess if you've got nothing better to do than sit around and check out some random guy's arms on YouTube, then that's on you. Whatever.
But just the way you phrase that, I was like, okay. To be clear, if you were to just take the population of every football team in America, and just add all the rugby players and a great number of the basketball players and a lot of the hockey players, and then the boxers, okay, sure. But if you measure that compared to the billions of people on the planet, the people who are muscular are a small subsegment of that, okay? So that's what I get that Tim is saying. However, I mean, a bicep curl is functional because that's how you get food to your mouth. That's how you get the groceries out of the car. It's just a matter of like what you're able to do. Like I always say, there was a challenge actually where, and I think it was on Instagram, and it was, how many points of contact do you need to be able to stand up from being flat on the ground? There's several variations of that. One, there's like the broomstick challenge where you put your arms behind your back and you get back up, that kind of stuff. But I love things like that because it kind of goes right back to your point. It's what are you able to do and how long are you able to do this thing?
I don't want to come across as like being muscular is a bad goal. I don't think that's a bad goal at all. And if that's your goal, that's awesome. I just think there's so much content out there already for those folks. You know, it's like there's content out there for there's a million programs on how to get six-pack abs, but there's not a million programs of, hey, you're a 45-year-old housewife that's 30 pounds overweight and your doctor just told you that you should probably build some muscle. What does that person do?
To that point though, do you think that it actually helps you because your channel is more accessible to normal people when they come and they want, like, they're looking for advice?
Yes.
So you don't look like, I don't know, Clark Bartram, you know,
Right.
who's in his 50s, but Clark does not, I mean, he's a former, you know, fitness model on magazine covers and stuff. He does, and he still looks like it. So if they see that, they're gonna immediately like discount half of what he says because they're gonna be like, that's not attainable for me. He used, you know, even though I believe he's natural, they're still gonna assume he's on something or just whatever. Whereas a channel that's like yours and a website like yours is accessible in a way. Does that make sense?
Well, there's another component too, which is, so when you have people who have a YouTube channel or a website and their first goal is to make money, then that goal comes through in all of their content. So every video is a product review. Every video is selling you something. Every video is buy this dumbbell, buy this weight plate, buy this bench. This is a better bench, buy the upgraded bench. And there's this dearth of content where if you start with, okay, I've got Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they're in their 40s or 50s. Their doctor just told them that the best thing they could do is build some more muscle and start training. They're embarrassed to go to the gym, so they want to do it at home. What do they need to know? They don't need to know, here's 16 different forms of adjustable dumbbells. What they need to know is, what kind of flooring do I put in there? What color should I paint the wall? Like, what makes it an enjoyable gym that I'm going to like using it? What kind of music should I put in there? Should I put in a stereo? Do I need a dehumidifier? What do I need to make this an enjoyable place? Like, all of that content is completely lacking because guess what? You don't do in any of those videos or articles. You don't sell a single thing. You know, when I say what kind of flooring you should buy, I make a recommendation for flooring, and I get a lot of flack for it because I don't recommend stall mats. But you know, I don't think that Mr. and Mrs. Jones need stall mats. I think that's a poor choice for them. I think Mr. and Mrs. Jones can afford something nicer. Number one, like, they don't need the cheapest option. And number two, they might be concerned about the VOCs or the off-gassing of that type of rubber. Because I talk to people, they're like, well, so-and-so, you know, Basement Brandon, which I love, by the way, I'm not knocking him at all, said that stall mats are the right way to go. So I put stall mats in my garage. Now I can't go in there because it smells so bad, you know? So it's like, nobody's making that kind of content. So you know who Zig Ziglar is? Show my age here a little bit. Zig Ziglar is one of my life mottos. If you help enough other people get what they want, you'll by default get what you want. So that's always been my approach, is what do Mr. and Mrs. Jones need to know about building a garage gym so that they'll use it, so that they'll get results from it?
First of all, Zig Ziglar is like probably one of the, well, rest in peace, he's one of the greatest salespeople ever. And he had like Dave Ramsey quotes him quite a bit. But I think the thing about a lot of the content that's out there is, and actually this is going to sound like I'm ranting, but let's just peel back the onion just a little bit. All right, bear with me. If you don't like it, I'll put timestamps in this video. You can skip to the next topic. Okay. So here's the thing. When you start out, especially on YouTube, you're already fighting an uphill battle because the algorithm, it sounds like this evil entity, but it's really just a measurement of what people like, especially on YouTube. It's designed to show you what you were searching for. Well, when you first start out, you don't necessarily know how to run the algorithm, how to do the SEO and all that kind of stuff. And you may not have the money to pay somebody who does know how to do all that. So you're going to go for the low-hanging fruit because one thing the algorithm rewards is engagement. And you're more likely to get people engaged on a video where you're talking about the latest bench from Rep Fitness, Rogue Fitness, wherever. People are going to comment on it, right? And when they comment, that makes your video more likely to be recommended to the next person who comes on YouTube looking for home gym equipment. Part of that is, unfortunately, the people who are most likely to comment on it are people who are home gym enthusiasts. And the home gym enthusiast market or community is an even smaller subsection of the home gym community. I think they're a valuable subsection. I enjoy hanging out with those guys. I'm one of them, obviously, or else I wouldn't be
Right.
doing this.
Right.
But the thing is that they can skew what you do to the point where it actually is tough to reach people who are just, like you said, looking for ideas on how to set up their home gym. Now, here's the thing. Watch this. This is a shameless plug. Where you're talking about the smell, my most popular long form video is how to get the smell out of stall mats. And it just popped up over my head. But the thing is that it goes back to people wanting to know the quickest way to get this done so I can move on to the next thing, because Mr. and Mrs. Jones aren't enthusiasts who are going to be constantly, they're like thinking about how great to make their home gym. They're like, I just need to set up a space so I can work out as quickly, efficiently as possible, and then get on with the rest of my day. To be honest with you, that's part of why I was attracted to your content, because I struggle to strike that balance of making stuff that home gym enthusiasts will like, while at the same time making stuff that's still accessible to someone who's entry level. Like my last power rack review is on a power rack that I'm going to tell you is for entry level people. It's not for somebody who's had a home gym for any length of time. And I'll also tell you too, if you're, I even said in the video, if you're stronger than a certain strength level, don't get this rack because it's going to not serve your needs. Awesome. But I recognize that there's somebody who's, let's go back to Mr. and Mrs. Jones. They just need something basic that they can get easily, quickly, that's going to be reasonably easy to put together, that they can, that's going to fit in their house, and that will have weight storage so they don't have to go out and buy more weight storage or whatever.
You have to consider the medium. The audience that I'm trying to talk to are older, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. They are much more likely to look up an article to read than they are to go to YouTube to watch a video. So I found that really focusing on written content, and then my focus with the YouTube channel going forward, because I'm going to start making videos again, is instead of trying to make videos for YouTube, I'm going to make videos that support specific articles on the site. I've got a big training, not a physical training background, but a training, like a learning training background. And different people learn different ways. So if in one article I can present a written way to learn, and then there's also a video that teaches the same thing, then I can help more people on that article, and I'll reach people who don't normally go to YouTube. I'm not trying to attract the YouTube audience. I really think there's a change going on right now when it comes to health and fitness. I think a lot of doctors are finally recommending strength training. So my goal, my mission is to take all the folks out there who are middle-aged, who have never strength trained before, and realize that for their own health, for their own longevity, for their own quality of life, that they should start strength training.
Right.
How do you do that at home? How do you do it without spending a fortune? And to do it without being fake, which cost me an obscene amount of money. Right. I gotta be real honest. I only review products that I've bought for myself, that I've used for 6 to 8 months. That's the only reviews on my website. I'm not a rogue fan. You know how much money I could make by writing articles and making videos about how awesome everything Rogue makes is? It's one of the easiest products to sell, you know, and not to knock Rogue, they make great stuff. I just don't think it's right for Mrs. Jones. So I cost myself a lot of money by just staying in my lane. But you know, I don't feel right writing about things I don't know about.
I think for me, the biggest value is in knowing like that there are tiers of equipment and not feeling ashamed because you don't have the thing that your favorite influencer uses. And I also say too, there's also no shame in having the thing your favorite influencer uses if that gets you to train. What I don't like are people who are home gym enthusiasts who buy stuff and never use it. And it becomes like I guess like a pecking order almost, like, hey, do you have the latest this or that thing? You've got 45 bars on your wall. Well, when's the last time? I mean, it's different if you're going to use them all and they're in a rotation. Okay, sure. I can actually even see a programming use for that. Sure. But if you just have them to have them, that's just not something that's interesting to me.
I love the way you do that. Yes.
Like the home gym community, ironically, because of garage gyms, is kind of like the car community. You can get to work in a Ford Taurus. And if you don't believe me, test it out. But there are people who would say, you know what, I'd rather get to work in a Mercedes.
Sure.
There are other people who would rather say, you know what, I'd rather take to Honda and make and add accessories to it till it costs as much as a stock Mercedes, but that's customized to what I like doing. And so I think all of those are legitimate. What I don't like are the people who buy the car and never actually drive anywhere.
Yes.
But there's that too. You've got the people they have their car on a dolly everywhere they go, and then they park it, open the hood, open the doors, and you can look at it and admire it. All right. If that's your thing, I don't yuck another man's yum. Sure. But for me and for what I'm assuming you also, it's like, I'm interested in the thing that you're going to get and use consistently over time, because it goes back to that's how you reach your goal, to the point where pictures of your home gym are not the thing that you're most proud of.
If fitness is your lifestyle and your identity, I get all that, and more power to you. It's a great lifestyle to live. You know, you're going to live a long, healthy life.
The worst vices to have.
There's a strong community around it. It's fun. People like to collect stuff. If barbells are the things you collect, that's awesome, man. Like you said, I don't want to, you know, tell you you're wrong for doing that. The problem that I think happens is when that person then says, oh, in order for Mr. and Mrs. Jones to get into shape, they need a power rack and 5 barbells and 800 pounds in bumper plates. And then Mr. and Mrs. Jones are like, well, I'll just skip it then.
It's kind of like the same thing about people joining a gym. Because my first job out of college was at a public gym. And I used to see people all the time who would say, you know, like they're just intimidated. You know, what they call the thing is gym intimidation. It's like the foundation behind Planet Fitness. And to a certain extent, that's part of why people train at home. But you can also get intimidated by looking at websites or video or channels like mine, and you see this stuff, you just say, one thing, I've knocked the home gym crowd, the home gym enthusiasts too much. So let's give them something. I'm a huge fan of the Rep AB 5200. I love the version 1 that I have, and I got to try the version 2.0 when I went to Home Gym Con.
Okay.
And that thing is amazing. You know, actually, I think that the version 2.0 is more like something that our Mr. and Mrs. Jones example, that's the one for them, because it's so much lighter than the version 1. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, and it's easier to stand it up. You've got version 1, right?
Yep, I'm sitting on it right now.
Okay, so how's it holding up for you?
Perfect. See, and I get accused of being a shill for Rep all the time, and it's because when I buy, like I said, I only review stuff I buy for myself. So when I want to buy something, I do a ton of research. I narrow down the choices. I see if I can go try them places before. Like, I really put a lot of thought and effort before I buy something. And I can't tell you the number of times Rep just comes out on top. So I have a lot of Rep stuff, man. Like I think they're doing really great stuff. You know, I think they've gone from kind of a mid-tier to, like, you know, you use cars as an example. They're not Ferraris and Lambos, but they're solid BMW stage right now. But they're like BMW 3 Series. It's like super high quality, but accessible to everybody. I think they're doing. I can't wait. Did you get to try the Blackwing?
They did not have that. They had the AB 5200. They had all of their bars that are coming out now, so we got to play with all their bars. This is my commercial for Home Gym Con 2024. It's going to be a little bit bigger this year, or next year technically. Body Solid's going to be there, and so it's less. So the Rep was there. AbMat, companies that you would say, okay, this is like, I don't want to say like the meathead, but more like the hardcore power lifter, strongman type of home gym. Okay, well, this year you're going to have that too, but you're also going to have more products from companies, like I said, like Body Solid, which has been around since like the 80s, making stuff of different levels for wherever you are. Okay.
They were my first adjustable bench with Body Solid.
Yeah. So there, you'll have more stuff like that. And again, you'll get to play with new stuff and whatever. Nice. So yeah, it's pretty good deal.
I really like, you know, you mentioned getting equipment for Mr. and Mrs. Jones. That's one of the things I really like about what Rep's doing. I just wrote a full article on their whole barbell lineup. And one of the things I like is they're like, okay, if you have this specific need, there's this one specific product that works for you. They make it really easy to decide. Like sending somebody to Rogue to buy a barbell, unless they're a fitness enthusiast, that's a horrible disservice, because I counted. I wrote this article. They have over 50 different Olympic barbells on their site.
Right.
A, there's not 50 different uses, but who the
Right.
heck needs 50 different bar? You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think Rep did a great job for that. Like if you're not the top end guy, you don't need the Blackman. They make the 5200 version too. If you're not quite that, they make the AB 3000. You know, there's each product has its own
Yeah, it's like, what
specific.
do you need this for? Yeah.
Yes, I love them for that. I really love
Yeah.
them for that.
I think that if you're gonna have a home gym, one of the things I recommend to people is, kind of like how men used to have like their barber, and they have
Mhm,
like you have like, okay, I got my barber, I got my mechanic, I got my insurance agent, whatever, right? I
mhm.
think you need to have a company that you can say, hey, I need this thing. I don't know where to find it, but let me
Yes.
see if you have it. And you can call the guy and just say, hey, do you have this thing? Can you make it? And if you have a guy who's good, he'll say either yes, or he'll say, well, I could, but here's where you could actually find it. It's already in existence. And I
Yep.
know a couple of guys who are like that. So I think that's the thing about having the multiple bars, because it's not that there's not a reason for it. It's that they brought it up because somebody mentioned it to them. Maybe some
Right.
athlete said, oh, well, there's this, and I noticed when I was using this thing, there's this, right? Because they're not just, I promise you, making up stuff. They take
Right.
like
Right.
that
Right.
customer feedback and they're like, oh, well, let's do this. Well, we don't want to get rid of that one because some people still like that one. But we've
Yes.
had some people who said, well, what about this? Well, now you end up, you got 100 bars, and I show up the first day and I don't have any idea what the thought process was behind any of them. And all I
Right.
want to know is, which one do I need?
Yeah, and I don't want to come across as knocking, because Rogue's a great company. I don't have anything bad to say about the quality of their products or anything like that. Like you said,
Oh,
they
yeah,
just
yeah,
make,
no, no, no.
like the Chan bar that they made is a great example of what you're talking about. It's designed by a specific CrossFit athlete with specific things for his specific needs. I love that bar. I think it's an awesome bar. I think it looks great. I think it works great. Um, but like you said, sending somebody new to that site to try and narrow that down, that's the right, it's just not possible.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
you need companies like Rep to be like, let's scale back a little bit. And who knows, in 5-10 years, Rep will probably have 50 barbells,
But I mean, there's
but
other companies. So like Crandall Fitness, I think is great because you can just call them and ask them, hey, look, this is what I need. This is what I want to do it for, what I want to do. And Sean Crandall he's had a home gym for probably 20 years. He'll say, yeah, sure. Let's talk it, let's talk it over. Um, then Fringe Sport, Peter Keller also had a home gym for a long time. The guy who owns Fringe Sport, he'll say, "Oh, what do you need?" Or whoever you talk to will say, "Yeah, what do you need?" All right, yeah, sure, and they'll talk you through it and they'll guide you towards something. Bells of Steel, same thing. There's a common theme in that the customer service from these slightly smaller companies is probably a better fit for you,
yes,
or even Body Solid, which is a big company, because they're willing to talk to you.
yes.
They're willing to answer your question. And so if you're watching this and you're in that demographic that normally goes on the website, you have questions, don't be afraid to call a company and ask them the question. Because I'll tell you this, if they're not willing to talk to you when they're trying to get your money, they're not going to want to talk to you if you have a product problem.
The great thing about all three of the companies that you mentioned is when you call them or you do an online chat, you're not only talking to somebody who works for that company, but you're not talking to a call center.
Yeah.
Every single one of those companies, everybody that works there trains.
Yep.
Everybody that works there has used every piece of equipment that you're asking about. And that's what I
Yes.
like. Fringe Sport especially, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Fringe, Bells of Steel, those guys all train
Yeah.
regularly. You're not asking like Joe, the customer service guy that's again, it's summer
Yeah.
break from college. Like you're talking to the guy who's been training for 20 years and knows exactly what you'll need. I love those companies for that.
This actually goes back to your website because you've got like a gear guide where you point people towards companies. How does a company get on that list?
So I have only written one article on my website about a company in specific, and I wrote an article about Titan Fitness. Is it worth the money or not?
Yeah.
I have articles in the works for every other company in regards to that.
Right.
What are the products that they're, because for Titan, to be honest, I can't send somebody to Titan and know they'll be happy across the board. Titan makes both my favorite product in my home gym and my least favorite product in my home gym.
Right.
So like it's a total crapshoot with them of whether or not you get something good or not.
Yeah.
Totally recommending their racks, love their racks, not comfortable recommending much else from them. So it's nice to be able to find, I know if I send somebody to Fringe or if I send somebody to Rep or if I
Yeah.
send somebody to Rogue, I know they're not going to be disappointed in the product they buy no matter what they
Right.
buy. I do Gym Crafter for a living, and yes, I take a giant pay cut by not throwing up a review for every product in existence on my website. I could literally triple or quadruple my income if I did that, but that's not why I'm doing this. And I would feel terrible every day waking up going, I'm just putting a bunch of crap content on the internet, hoping that somebody clicks buy from me. Like that's not why I do.
I want to talk about the fact that you're 6'6".
Yep.
Because your dimensions don't fit on everybody's stuff. So is that
No.
another reason why rep works for you? Because it fits. You're like, okay, it'll fit me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a huge thing. I'm looking for a rower right now, and finding a rower that's suitable for somebody that's 6'6" is turning out to not necessarily be the easiest thing in the world.
Right.
But yeah, man, like trying to find a pull-up bar, like that's why I have the multi-grip that goes up, because I need that extra 4 inches. Like I can literally hang on a regular pull-up bar on my rack, and my knees will touch the ground.
On YouTube, I mean, I've done a little bit of collaboration stuff where I've allowed somebody to just do like the channel takeover. Usually it's because they already had the thing I was interested in getting the review on. And I'm like, well, why should I do it? And it also helps them out.
Sure.
Like, hey, you come on, right? But I've also done that with my website. And I'll say, hey, yeah, if you want to write, first of all, you get the emails all the time. Hey, I want to write this dynamic, you know, it sounds amazing, right? And I'm like, look, calm down. And now you got me suspicious. So what's your viewpoint on using, I guess, other bloggers to contribute to your site, and how do you weed them out?
I've hired writers on my website. I have yet to be happy with one. There's still a few articles up by the last one that I hired that I think are okay. They're not up to my standards. They're not up to, and unfortunately, when you hire writers, too many of them are writers first and fitness people second. And they write the same article about barbells that they would write about shoes or dog kennels or dog or whatever else they get paid to write about. So it's real hard to weed those people out. The nice thing about my business is it supports me, and my business expenses are between $200 and $300 a month. That's what it costs me to run my business. I don't have to pay anybody. I don't have any overhead. So anytime you add people, as you know, that overhead gets
overhead. Oh yeah.
So I'm not against hiring people. I just haven't found the right ones yet. So like the person I hired recently, I'm not a cardio guy. So I have no business writing articles about cardio gear. Like it's just not my wheelhouse. And I hired a woman because I'm like, I'm a dude, right? I don't have a woman's perspective on home gyms. Like I personally don't think that a woman's home gym should look any different than a man's home gym, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm a dude, right? So I don't know. So I hired, so I'm up. Like if I find somebody who trains at home and like loves the equipment and can write some reviews about products that I'm hired, right? Like I'm not against spending that money. I just haven't found anybody that can do it better than I can at this point. And I know like all the business guys out there are gonna be like, that's a huge roadblock. Like that's where the plateaus happen. And as soon as you like focus on what you do and you like, I get all that, but I'm also, I don't know if you follow Gary Vaynerchuk or not.
I know who you're talking about, Gary V. Yeah.
He's really misunderstood, but something that always hit home with me that he said, he goes, it's okay to be a mid-level online guy and make 80 grand a year, but be happy.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm not trying to scale a business. I'm not trying to build a monstrosity. I'm trying to pay my bills in as little time a day as possible that allows me to spend as much time a day as possible doing the other things in life that I love.
That you enjoy,
and I got news. Spending time in the gym isn't one of those things. So, I want to get out with the job and the gym and get onto life. And that's been one of the blessings of this type of thing for a living is I don't have to work 8 to 10 hours a day. So am I willing to hire out if it's the right person? 100%. Am I willing to hire out just to get a bunch of crap up to scale the business? No. Hopefully that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. And with all that being said, I want everybody who's watching this to know that Tim has some outstanding videos on his channel that are what they call evergreen. So the dehumidifier video is still applicable today, like it was when you first posted it, right? Maybe some of the brand names may have changed, but it's still applicable. And that's why I share your stuff and I continue to share it. So I want other people to be able to check out what you do. I want them to be able to find your website. Heck, if they want to write for you, I want them to be able to get in touch with you.
Reach out, man.
Let people know, go ahead, let everybody watching this know how they can find out more about Gym Crafter.
So gymcrafter.com is the hub. That's the website. So it's just gymcrafter.com. And then it's the YouTube channel has the same title. And those are my two places. I don't do Facebook. I don't do Twitter. I don't do Instagram. I just do those two things. The primary thing being the website. It's tim@gymcrafter.com. If you have any questions on the website, if I can help you in any way, if you have questions about what to put in your gym, or hey, if you're that writer I just described, or you're kind of you like writing and you want to write the issue that I have with a lot of writers is everybody wants to write about nutrition and exercises. And I'm like, that's the most crowded space online. I want nothing to do with writing. I want to write about, is this a good or a bad bar? By the way, this one is a terrible bar. Do not buy it. It's the Titan multi-grip bar. Awful. Sorry, Titan. I love your rack. Really cool. but yeah, those two places, reach out. I really appreciate it. If anybody, has, like I said, has any questions, reach out. But yeah, that's it. Pretty simple.